The two full-scale wars that began a year apart, the Russian-Ukrainian and Arab-Israeli wars, clearly demonstrated the critical importance of combat aviation. The lack of dominance, or at least parity in the air, was the main reason for the failure of the great Ukrainian counteroffensive designed to liberate the southern Ukrainian lands seized by Russia, including Crimea, which provides Russia with the leading position in the Black Sea. And we could see the effectiveness of the Israeli Air Force almost live when fighter jets with Stars of David on their wings and fuselage leveled the Gaza Strip. Of course, in Hamas' lack of air power and any air defense, even the nearly 50-year-old F-15s, which are mainly used to iron out the Palestinians, are mighty eagles against which there's no defense. But what'll happen if Iran, which has a fairly modern air defense system based on the Russian S-300 PMU-2 and Tor M1 SAM systems, comes to the aid of the Palestinians? And here's the latest news. Iran has announced that it's reached an agreement with Russia to buy its Su-35 fighters, which are of the 4++ generation. How can Israel respond to this? And in general, does the West have airplanes capable of fighting Russian, Chinese, and Iranian weapons on equal terms? We'll talk about this in today's video. Speaking of modern Western combat aircraft, the first thing that comes to mind is the F-35 Lightning II, a fifth-generation fighter that's become the backbone of the fighter aviation of the United States, NATO countries, and Israel. It's a modern technological machine built using stealth technologies armed with a diverse arsenal of air-to-air, air-to-surface missiles, and guided bombs. Is this airplane enough to ensure air dominance? An unequivocal no. First of all, the Lightning, despite its loud name, is relatively slow. The maximum speed, and that in afterburner mode, which quickly wears out the engine and in many ways loses little visibility, is only 1,930 kilometers an hour. That's Mach 1.6. Without afterburner, the F-35 is a subsonic fighter. The same Russian Su-35 has a maximum speed of Mach 2.3, and without afterburner, Mach 1.1. Both the Russians and the Chinese have fifth-generation fighters, though not as many as the F-35, but together with the fourth-generation fighters, they don't promise a quiet life to American airplanes. And this is without taking into account their air defense. Russia's S-400 and the latest S-500 systems will hardly watch the F-35s flying in their area of responsibility. There are very strong suspicions that their radars do see stealth aircraft even before they can use their weapons on them. So what's the U.S. going to counter all this? The answer is sixth-generation fighter jets. In the U.S., such aircraft are being developed under the Next Generation Air Dominance Program, abbreviated NGAD. All prominent U.S. aircraft manufacturers, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, and Northrop Grumman, are involved in this program. However, the latter officially announced on July 27, 2023, that it's withdrawing from the NGAD program. What kind of airplane will it be? Its impressive characteristics can be judged by the SR-72 project, which is being developed by Lockheed Martin. Aviation connoisseurs will immediately see the similarity in the abbreviation SR-72 with the name of another truly legendary airplane, SR-71 Blackbird. This high-altitude reconnaissance aircraft was a nightmare for Soviet air defense. Built in 1964 by Lockheed Martin, it appeared over every theater of war from the Vietnam War to the Yugoslav conflict in 1998. On more than one occasion, it's invaded Soviet and Russian airspace, and it was never shot down. The machine could stay in the air for a long time at an altitude of about 24 kilometers, flying at supersonic speed, Mach 3.3. This is more than 4,000 kilometers an hour. Fantastic figures for an airplane even in our time. In the air defense system of the USSR, the SR-71 was considered the strongest enemy. Combat work was conducted primarily against it. Other air targets were temporarily ignored. According to the instructions, after the capture of the target, the SR-71 was escorted only manually, as the aircraft had onboard effective means of electronic warfare and actively used them during combat operations. It's not surprising, therefore, that Lockheed Martin, developing the sixth-generation fighter, took the Blackbird as a basis. First of all, the company is going to significantly increase the speed of the new airplane compared to the already fantastic performance of the SR-71. To fly at even higher speed, the new SR-72 airplane is planned to be equipped with a GPVRD hypersonic direct-flow air jet engine, which uses a special mixture of supercompressed air and fuel. The combustion of this mixture will allow the airplane to fly at hypersonic speeds of Mach 6. That's 7,350 kilometers per hour, or 4,570 miles per hour. But first, we'll have to overcome several technical difficulties associated with the project. Since the GPVRD uses supercompressed air, it's not adapted for low-speed flight. To solve this problem, Lockheed designers are going to use two jet engines equipped with a common air intake. The first of them is quite a conventional jet engine. There are plans to use the technology of the experimental combat unit Falcon 2 as a jet engine. It'll be used from the moment the airplane takes off until it reaches a speed of Mach 3. From that airspeed onwards, the airplane will transition to flight using the GPWR. However, the biggest difference from its predecessor will not be this, but the fact that the SR-72 reconnaissance aircraft can be used without a pilot. Currently, two variants of the aircraft are being considered, unmanned and manned. At the same time, the aircraft will be able to carry a set of offensive weapons. It's mainly about the new lightweight missiles, as when launched at a speed of Mach 6, they will not need to accelerate and therefore weigh their stuffing. One of the objectives of the new SR-72 hypersonic aircraft will not only be to provide the U.S. with the necessary intelligence information, but also to increase the military strength of the state. According to the head of the hypersonics program, Brad Leland, hypersonic aircraft with hypersonic missiles will be able to penetrate the airspace close to flights of the likely enemy and strike missile strikes in any part of the continent, flying to the destination in less than 1 hour. According to the specialist, it's speed that should become the next key indicator in the whole world's new generation aviation. Speed will remain a priority for the next few decades. Leland believes that these technologies will be a game changer, requiring a change in the rules of the game as the mass introduction of stealth-type technologies once was. Indeed, why should an airplane be invisible if neither air defense missiles nor air-to-air missiles can catch up with it? According to Brad Leland, the SR-72 at a speed of Mach 6 will be able to leave potential U.S. adversaries not only a minimum of time to retaliate, but also surprise them with high efficiency in the use of hypersonic missiles. Since their launch will not require a carrier rocket, the speed of such missiles can be 6 times the speed of sound, and the design of missiles will be much lighter, and not only in terms of weight, but also in terms of the very structure of the rocket. The heart of the new airplane should be, as it's called in Lockheed, a turbine based on a combined cycle of operation. It'll combine the engine technology of the hypersonic aircraft, HTV-2, which could reach a speed of Mach 20, which is an incredible 24,500 kilometers an hour or 15,220 miles per hour during the tests. It's being reported that the SR-72 will get 2 engines, each of which will essentially be a twin engine. Each engine will utilize a rather complex combined design consisting of a nozzle and air intakes connected to 2 different power sources to achieve a significant reduction in air drag. Lockheed and Aerojet Rocketdyne spent a full 7 years working together on the design of the future engines and their appearance. As part of the work on this project, the engineers of the 2 companies have repeatedly racked their brains to find a suitable solution. In an interview with the famous Weekly Aviation Week, Brad Leland explained that the retirement of the Blackbird left a rather impressive gap in the development of satellite technology. We're talking about hardware, not television technology, as well as subsonic unmanned and manned systems. The development of the new SR-72 hypersonic aircraft is designed to close this gap. The journal article reports that one of the conditions for the creation of the SR-72 is to take into account the requirements of the U.S. Department of Defense as part of weapons development and research programs. These requirements largely dictate to Lockheed engineers various aspects of the project and its timing. According to Leland, building the SR-72 will not require the creation of fundamentally new technologies. This multi-role aircraft is scheduled to enter service by 2030. The future SR-72 airplane already has an addition to the name, as is customary for all airplanes. If the SR-71 is the Blackbird, then the SR-72 is the Dark Star. It was on the SR-72 Dark Star that Tom Cruise's hero, Captain Peter Maverick Mitchell, in the movie Top Gun Maverick, accelerated to speeds of Mach 10, or about 12,250 kilometers an hour, or 7,600 miles per hour. Who knows? Maybe the real SR-72 will be able to break Mach 10. Well, we'll just have to wait until 2030. And let's finish our video where it started, with Israel. It's no secret that this country does not develop its own airplanes, but buys them from the USA. This was the case with the F-15, the F-16, and the F-35. Taking advantage of the presence of a lot of talented engineers and scientists, in Israel, devoted an aircraft significantly improves. Israeli modifications are recognized by many experts as the most advanced. The latest aircraft handed over, the F-35, was no exception. In Israel, it was modernized to the F-35I. It's called Adir there, which means mighty in Hebrew. We're sure that the same story will happen with the SR-72. It'd be even better. On that optimistic note, we end our video. Thanks for watching. Tell us what you think about what you watched in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell not to miss new videos about modern weaponry. We hope you have a great day, and we'll see you again soon.